Welcome to Coffee with Trucentive, 30 minutes of tips, tricks, and best practices. My name is Jim Meyer, and I'm going to be your host for today. I want to thank you all for joining. Today's topic is how to maximize the value of your incentive, gift, reward programs with design. Before we do get started, I respect your time. We'll keep this to under 30 minutes. Our webinars are always educational, marketing, sales, research, HR outcomes. We do like to keep them current. So if you do have a suggestion that you'd like us to cover, please feel free to send an email to marketing@trucentive.com. We like to talk about the things that you're interested in. We will have time for questions at the end, and we will send you a link to the recording so you can sit back and relax. You don't need to take notes. You'll have access to both the presentation and the recording. So let's get started. Today's coffee will be a live review of an incentive delivery project. August is Wellness Month, National Wellness Month, and so we're going to go through a national wellness delivery. Now, a lot of the elements of all this will be the same, whether you're doing research, clinical trials, employee engagement, it really doesn't matter. The elements are all the same. It's just how you're going to craft for your particular delivery. We want to make sure that it's on brand, includes a mix of gift cards and merchandise. Of course, these will all be different depending on the type of program you're running, but the steps are all the same. We'll also go through every single touch point of your process, and that includes everything from that very first email or SMS message that you deliver to your recipient, including the reminders to remind them to claim their incentive, and then finally, even follow-up messages post-claim. We'll talk a little bit about that. The goal here is just to leave you with the tools so that whatever type of program you're trying to run, you know the options that are available to you to create a program that maximizes the value of that incentive. Very often, the presentation is more important than the value or the selection that you give a recipient. And there's lots of studies that bear this out. So if you're today going to Amazon and sending out gift cards, that it's not a personalized delivery, you're not following up, you're not getting the full value that you're spending on that incentive. In addition, if you do create a better presentation, you can actually spend less. We're finding that organizations are sending often, but at lower value because they can increase the overall perceived value of every incentive they send. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so we are now in Trucentive, and Trucentive is a project-based delivery platform. So depending on the type of program you're running, whether it's research or a birthday, you can create multiple projects. Today, we're going to be focused on National Wellness Month, which is a project that is already built out, and we'll go ahead and walk through that project. When you first get into a project, and a lot of platforms are similar in nature, so a lot of these elements will be useful to you for any type of program that you're running, independent of the platform. The overview just gives you an idea of what has been sent. It gives you that transparency into what's been claimed, so you know exactly what's going on at any point in time. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here because this presentation is really about design. So first we'll go into some of the design parameters we're going to want to consider in the settings of your delivery. Here you can see we have a settings tab with the option for test mode or live mode. Any program you're starting to run, you're going to want to run it in test mode first. In our case, we send the equivalent of Monopoly money, and what that allows you to do is send samples to yourself, samples to your colleagues, so you can get the program looking and feeling just the way you like it before you actually go live. Once you go live, then you're going to send actual dollars. You can also consider having assistance for your program. For example, you can add project members with different roles. In our case, we have a variety of them. A very common scenario might be you invite somebody who has design capability. You want to let them into your project, help you design the graphic elements, the emails, etc. And then, but you don't want to give them access to funds or visibility into who's receiving those incentives. Managing your members is a great way to spread the load across your organization if you have a lot of programs. The next important step is who is your incentive going to come from? Is it coming from an individual manager? Is it coming from the HR department? Could be the research or the research department in a market research firm. It could be the principal investigator in a clinical trial. Having that recognizable delivery is important. And that's especially true today with all the phishing and all the other things that are people are trying to do to get in the door at your company. And of course, our employees are all trained not to click on phishing emails. So setting your deliveries to come from your company's domain is a great way to make sure that people have confidence in claiming those rewards. In this case, we can see these are coming from Coco Sports, which is the company that's doing this wellness program today. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about here is the amount of time that you're going to give your recipients to claim their incentive. In the case here, we have it set for 60 days from when that envelope or that delivery is created or sent. You can set it for a fixed period of time or have it end on a specific date. That's all dependent on your particular program. Now, the big advantage here is that on day 61 in this case, anyone who has received an incentive, a reward, a gift, it will expire and the funds for that particular item will automatically go back into your account. And this is substantial cost savings compared to just sending raw gift cards or raw presents. Very often people leave the company, they forget, and they never claim that incentive. The industry average for gift card claims is 68% for a $25 card. Now, the claim rate's going to go up for higher value cards, but that's a pretty low claim rate when you think about it. Now, TrueCentive's claim rate is actually a little bit higher because we offer the ability to send reminders and a lot of other things, but can be a substantial amount of money if you have a large program. So now that we've got the settings done, let's go in and start looking at the fun part. What do you want to send? Different platforms will have different options. With Incentive, you have a wide variety of options. This is Wellness Month, so we can see the selected items over here are wellness related. So they have some sports clothing. We have the ability for someone to get a Visa card and go out and buy a sporting goods or other activity or relaxation options. We have watch a movie, get a massage, a wide variety of options, and they're tailored to be designed to fit with the nature of the program. Now, you do have a lot of other options. Charity cards, local gift cards. So if you want to buy local, you could choose that, or you could include all local. National and international cards. TrueCentive, for example, is location aware, so you can actually provide incentives worldwide. Payments, Venmo, PayPal, deposit to debit card, deposit to bank account, lots of options there. You can also send physical gift cards where the recipient can put their address in and have the card delivered directly to them. As you can see, we have physical merchandise here and swag included in this particular program. So you can mix it up. Now, the next step is just considering how much do you want to provide to your employees. You can either set a fixed amount for your program or variable amount. And you might ask, well, why would I want to give a different variable amount? Well, if this was a years of service program, you might want to give different amounts. Or if you were providing this, say, to employees around the world, you might want to consider the ratio of their salary to their incentive. So, for example, if you have employees, say engineers in Seattle, and you have engineers in India, their pay scales are probably going to be different. So to keep that ratio of your incentive in line with the pay scale, you're probably going to want to set it so that you can load a list with a variable amount, and that way you keep that ratio intact. You might ask why we have this range that you can preset in here. This is just a little safety feature. This is just so if you're loading a list of individuals and you do have variable amounts, it will never send more than $100 or less than $50. And you set this value, but that's just to protect you and just in case you fat finger it and send $1,000. We don't want any embarrassing mistakes. Once you have your selection intact and ready to go, then you can move on to the design of your particular program. SMS message or email, or both if you prefer. Here you can see we've got a custom SMS message. We have our email. One of the keys to delivering memorable incentives is being able to design a message that is endearing to the recipient, and memorable incentives is being able to design a message that is endearing to the recipient and is visually appealing. Here we can see we've got a pre-designed message. We have some statistics to help the employees engage and understand the value of wellness programs, have a couple samples of some of the options just to get them to move forward, and the messaging to recognize that they're appreciated and you care about that particular employee. And then finally, of course, we've got branding. Now, your emails are completely editable. They should be in your platform. You should be able to do overall settings on design, colors, whatever you like, so that you can match your corporate style guide. You also should be able to make modifications to a project that's pre-designed. Maybe you want to just add additional content, maybe a picture of the CEO and a message, something like that. But you've got lots of flexibility, and this is where using your design tools to increase the value of that delivery is a great way to really impact and make that delivery memorable. With any program, you're going to initiate that delivery or that incentive delivery, and typically you'll be taking the recipient to a landing page. And you want to make sure that landing page isn't about your vendor. This is not a TrueCentive delivery. This is a delivery from, in this case, Coco Sports. So the landing page should reflect that. And here you can see that the email and the landing page are different. Now, they're very similar in nature, but you can change your landing page to reflect any look and feel you choose. Maybe you don't want the image included in it. Maybe you want, in this case, the logo was moved up on top. Similar messaging. And then down at the bottom of the landing page is the selection of the incentives that you chose for this particular program. And of course, if you're doing a coffee program, it's going to be coffee cards, maybe coffee cups and things like that. But you just want to make it all relative and associated with the type of program that you're running. One of the interesting feature that we do have is the ability to copy all the contents from your email template so you don't have to do all the design work twice. All right, so now we have our design, we have our ability to go ahead and deliver these incentives. However, we want to think about reminders. Very often people are busy. The number one reason somebody does not claim an incentive is purely they looked at it and forgot about it. And that's where reminders come in. In this case, we have the option to add multiple reminders. You can put them in at your cadence. What we recommend typically is after you send that first message, follow up between 1 and 3 days after with that initial reminder. Now, reminders should stop as soon as somebody claims their incentive. You don't want those repetitive reminders. And it's also important to note that sometimes it's better if somebody doesn't actually claim on the first delivery. If they forget and then they get a reminder, they're getting more impressions from your company, letting them know that they care about you in this case, and they have a wellness program. Then maybe 15 days later. In this case, we set up a program that was 60 days long. So following up 58 days, finally saying, hey, this is your last reminder. Great way to make sure that you feel comfortable that you made a good effort if that employee or individual never claims that incentive. All of these incentives in this case are set up to use the original email, but you can create unique emails for each step of the way. And that could be a fun way to get people to move forward and claim that incentive. In this case, there's also a follow-up message. This follow-up message is a request for anonymous feedback on the wellness program. This is very common in HR departments. Tell us how you're doing. The anonymous feedback goes to a Google form. Can't track anybody. You know what their answers are, but not who answered it. And these can be a little self-serving in the HR department because very often they'll say, how are we doing? And of course, you just gave them something really nice. And so they tend to respond nicely and give you kudos. So it can be a boost for the HR department. But in this case, we can see they're looking for feedback on the wellness program itself. So that is the structure and the flow of the program. Then the question is how is it working for you? Having transparency into what's going on in the program helps you make decisions for future programs. For example, in this case, we can see there's some sample emails that went out, and you can see who the recipients are, when they were sent, what they selected, who claimed, who viewed, and where they are in the process. So here we can see that a few have been viewed, a couple have been claimed. We can see this one's been viewed. We can see this one's been revoked. And if we look, we can say, oh, wait, Priya received two accidentally. So giving you the control to show them, resend, print them out if you need, revoke, gives you complete control over the program. We wanted to look and see what a actual delivery looks like, given the design that we have. We can go in and see, here's the landing page, and we can see what all the options are for choice. Now, I'm not going to go in and choose this because there's somebody waiting to choose it. If we look at one that's been claimed, the recipient can go back at any time from that link in their email, and it should be very convenient. And in this case, we can see this individual chose a Fitbit, and my guess is they chose an Amazon card as well because they received a total value of $100 and the Fitbit was $90. And so they wanted to use the rest of that delivery up, which is a good thing. You want to make sure that they get that full value and full enjoyment out of the delivery that you provided that particular recipient. So now we've covered the visibility of delivery, design, all the capabilities of a well-orchestrated incentive program. Depending on whether this is a clinical trial, an employee program, you're going to probably modify much of this so that you can tailor it for your particular audience, but you can see the flexibility that you have and the ability to deliver incentives that resonate with each individual receiving that particular program. So I know that was a fast, quick overview of the things to think about and the different elements of your program. The one thing I didn't mention was that you can also automate programs, and you might consider that as well. Automated birthdays, years of service with a company, you can set it up so that as a manager, you don't have to worry about delivering those incentives. They automatically go out the door when you expect them to. So we do have time for some questions. Let's see what we got. It looks like we do have a few. Let me get to these. The first question is, what if a recipient receives a lower value than the items they can select from? So we saw we had a variety of different values in that particular project. The good news is that most platforms, well, at least TrueCentive does, they will not see anything that is over the value of what they can claim. The big advantage to that is then no one feels put out if they received a lower amount and there was an item in there that was higher value than they received, which would tend to indicate that somebody else did get a higher value incentive. So this also goes for deliveries internationally. TrueCentive's location aware. So if you're in France, you're going to see only items that are available in France. You can always change your country of location and pick something in another country. Maybe you're traveling to the UK, you can go ahead and select a UK gift card or item and use it when you're in the UK. Another question is, how reliable is delivery? Deliverability is really important, especially when you're in the incentive business, because very often we have terms like gift card and other things in the emails, which are typically spam flags. The good news is that all of our deliveries, at least, come from the same domain, same IP addresses, same SMS numbers. And as a result, because so many people are always claiming their incentives, our sender score is 100%. And if you know anything about sender scores, that's almost impossible to do, but that's merely because we're always sending incentives. We don't send marketing emails or anything else in conjunction with all of our customers' incentive deliveries. So the reliability of delivery is really good and something you really don't need to worry about. We had a question on how international works, and we already talked about that. Another question is, how many incentives is too many? So we usually find that if you If you offer 10 to 15 or less, you'll find your claim rates go up because people don't merely go in and look at it and decide to look at it again later because they don't have time to make a choice. You can include the whole catalog, you can include a large number of options, but what you will find, even with reminders, is that your claim rate will go down. Everybody's busy and things just get lost in the noise. The next question is, can I revoke a delivery that's been claimed? And the answer is no. Once somebody has claimed that incentive, whether it's a Visa card or Amazon card, it's theirs. Both legally and ethically, you want to make sure that if somebody does claim something, they get to keep it. Another question is, can I get a copy of the recording? As I mentioned, if you missed it right on the front end and joined a little bit late, you will be receiving a copy of the presentation as well as a recording if you wish. That link should come out either tomorrow or Monday. I'm not sure exactly what the schedule is for that. The next question is on swag and how swag is set up. So the way we do it is we give you the ability to add a wide variety of swag items. We have a huge catalog. You can find that on our website. But really, the logistics of it are we'll have a quick meeting and make sure that the logo you want to use for your swag items, usually many companies have two logos, a light logo and a dark logo, and make sure that logo is the appropriate one for your swag. A lot of companies have different requirements for their logoed items versus the digital logos on the web and things like that. We make sure that that's all straight. We have a catalog, kind of a standard of items that we typically will add, but we have a lot of other items that are somewhat unique or could use unique designs. And the swag items aren't just limited to standard, let's put a embroidered logo on your shirt. If you do have a custom design need or you have a particular program and you want to make a special t-shirt for that program, you can reach out and we're happy to go ahead and have our team put that together for you with your image and your design and then put that in your account. So it's a relatively easy process. We've had a lot of summer programs this year where people did beach towels that had complete custom designs and the company logo on it. We've had flip-flops, all kinds of interesting stuff. So people have had a lot of fun with it, and they've let the employees choose from everything from bucket hats to swimsuits. So you have a lot of options if you want to do a program that does include swag. No more questions? Wonderful. Well, I hope you found this informative. And if there's anything I can do to help, you can reach out. You just come to our website and schedule a meeting. Our support team's happy to help if you'd like. And hope you have a great day. And we look forward to seeing you all on the next Coffee with Trucentive. Take care.